Alright, what's going on, everyone? Hope you guys are doing great. Today we're going to be doing a highly requested video talking about Hex, what it is, and breaking down the ins and outs of it so that you guys can be better informed on the investment that you're making if you haven't, if you've made it already, or just kind of know more about it and know why I love this this coin so much, guys. I'm going to go straight into this information. First and foremost, if you want to find out the price of Hex and you want to see where it's charted at right now in the overall marketplace of cryptocurrency, you're going to go to nomics.com. It's going to have the unfiltered market price and market cap and where it is positioned in comparison to all these other coins that exist out there right now. Currently, we are number 5 with a $54 billion market cap at the time of this video, and we're trading at a little over 9 1/2 cents. So first and foremost, guys, Hex has a website. You can go to Hex.com to find more details about it. And just to kind of break this down for you, this is the most simplest way I can put Hex in terms of what it is and how it works. If you want to watch a video on it, you can definitely go onto the Hex website and watch this video right here. But what I'm going to tell you is Hex is essentially a digital currency that is trying to do its best, and it's succeeding very well at it, at being a certificate of deposit style of investment. Now, for those of you who don't know what a CD is, a certificate of deposit is essentially a time-based investment that you can do with a bank. It's one of the oldest investments that you can make, and banks right now banks right now hold trillions of dollars worth in CDs. And it's one of the oldest products that existed ever in the banking industry, right? It's essentially a product that a bank offers as a long-term investment. And so Hex's goal was to become the first CD in the blockchain, right? In the cryptocurrency space. And the idea was that of using a proof of stake mechanism, something that allowed you to stake your coin and gain interest on that coin. And it was very interesting because at first Hex was thought to be like a pyramid. It was thought to be a scam, and nobody liked Hex. And to this day, it's even still blacklisted on a lot of coin listing websites like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, some of which are created by very, very, very prominent people in the cryptocurrency space, and they just simply alienated the coin because of the coin's creator. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that. If you want to go to twitter.com, I talk about this guy all the time. His name is Mr. Richard Hart. You can search him up on Twitter, Hex.Win, and you can follow him. You can look at his tweets. He talks a lot about Hex price. He talks a lot about just different projects and everything crypto. The guy's an extremely smart guy, a very different character if you really start talking about his personality, but his mind is unlike any other. The guy is very smart. He understands cryptocurrency. He understands investments, and the guy understands money. He understands what makes this entire market work, which is why he was able to create, at this point, the top 5 coin in the world with no virality and simply smart investors understanding the process in which this coin works and what makes it tick, and people investing into it in that manner. Currently, $50 billion are in this coin. Very hard feat to accomplish, especially without having the hype of going on, people's Instagrams and all this stuff and going viral. It's simply people seeing a sound investment and putting money towards it. So Hex is that, a certificate of deposit for the blockchain, where you can essentially set aside a Hex investment, so you can stake your Hex for, let's say, 1 year up to 15 years, and you're going to receive interest based on some metrics that we're going to talk about. But essentially, that's the idea. You're going to receive interest on that investment that you put aside for a certain amount of time. If you decide to end that investment or to cancel that CD early, you get hit with a penalty, kind of like how you do with a certificate of deposit. And in this case, it's used as an incentive mechanism to be able to allow you to hold for longer and keep your investment safe with Hex, okay? And so a lot of people are like, oh, but what do you mean? Why would that happen? Well, essentially, the coin was built to be held. The coin was built to only go up, and not just only go up, it will go down, right? The value of Hex, but it was built to go up in value over time, right? And for it to scale over time, right? That was what the coin was meant to do. And so it does a very cool way of doing that job. And I'm going to go ahead and open up one of the websites that we use here. It's called Go.Hex.Win, where we can talk a little bit about what makes this coin function. So if you click on the Hex logo, you're going to be taken to this website where you're going to see some important information about Hex. And Hex isn't just about Hex on its own. Hex is specifically also a it also has an important function to it that you need to know about, which is this concept of a T-share, okay? And T-shares are pretty much something you can purchase when you stake your Hex. And this took a little while for me to understand. I'm going to wait for this thing to load up first for you guys to understand what I mean. But essentially, it's not just about the value of Hex going up. It's about the overall T-share price. And we're going to talk about this in the next couple minutes, but understand that you essentially don't just want Hex, you want to have T-shares, because if you are in Hex, you're in Hex to stake your coins. You're in Hex to earn interest. That's the point. Yes, you can buy Hex. It's great. Yes, it'll go up in value. But if you want to make money on your Hex, if you want to gain interest like what the coin is meant to do, you want T-shares. That's the goal of this coin, right? And so when this coin launched over 561 days ago, back in October of 2020, we see that T-shares started off at a value of about $2, $3, $4, right? And they eventually went down little by little. But at about day 30, T-shares were at about 70 to 60 cents, the lowest they've probably ever been. And this is probably the best time you could have possibly staked your Hex, okay? And now, right now, to put it into perspective, a T-share is worth $1,400. Now, you're probably still asking yourself, Kevin, what the hell is a T-share? Well, understand that when you stake your Hex, right? Let's say if I have 100,000 Hex like I have in this specific wallet, I want to stake my Hex for 365 days, right? What it would calculate for me is the amount of interest that I would earn in Hex, because here we earn interest in Hex. I would have 120,000 Hex. Now, the share price, right, of Hex is 17,888 per T-share, which essentially equates to about 6.711 T-shares. Now, this is how many T-shares I would be able to essentially get for the stake that I'm putting. Okay, the longer that I stake for, let's say I add a 0 to that, so 3,650, I can get more T-shares because it incentivizes you to stake your Hex for longer. So if I stake my Hex for a longer amount of time, I can actually get more T-shares. If I stake for less time, I'll get less. And let's say I can stake for the longest amount of time, which is 5,555 days, right? Yeah, perfect. I would get max amount of T-shares, which is 16,000.77. But overall, this is how much I can earn in interest. If I'm putting in 100,000, I can get 300,000 Hex pretty much by the time that I'm done with this stake. And that is based on the T-share price. That's based on, you know, the overall way that this pays in its interest. And we're going to talk about how much it pays and stuff like that. But look at these that I've put in before, right? These are some stakes that I ended. I started this stake at day 153. It ended at day 365. I got from a big payday event, and I'm not going to go too deep into that, but we're going to talk about overall the interest that I earned, right? I earned 20,000 Hex shares in interest here. I earned 35,000 in interest. I earned 7,000 in interest, okay? And this is pretty much equal to a couple thousand dollars in interest that I earned from these shares. And so I bought a certain amount of T shares, and based on how many T shares I had was how much interest I was accruing throughout this time period. Now, right now I have some active stakes where I currently have some stakes, and because of how much money I put in and what I bought my T shares at, I have 31 T shares. Now, every day I get paid interest based on the T share price, okay? And how much interest is being paid on those T shares. Now, to find that information, you got to go to this screen where you're going to see two very important charts here, okay? First one is the T-share daily close price. Why do you want to know the daily T-share price? Well, because the more expensive a T-share becomes, the more money you have to invest to get a T-share. You see, if I were to put in $10,000 into Hex, and then I would have staked $10,000 worth of Hex at 60 cents, that would mean that I would have, right, let's do some math here, $10,000 divided by 60 cents, I would have 16,666 T-shares. If I do the same stake today, I would have 10,000 divided by 1,400, I would have 7.14 T-shares, maybe more if I staked for longer. So understand that by purchasing T-shares at the lowest price, you're getting the best value when it comes down to earning interest on your stake. So it's not just about hex price, it's about staking your hex at the lowest T-share price, and T-shares are only becoming more expensive because more people are staking. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this price and what it reflects, but I want you guys to know, okay, that here we have a daily hex payout per T-share. So every single day, right, even up until today, right now, we're seeing that after the big payday, we are pretty stable with how much hex is being paid out every single day. We're seeing about 5 to 6 hex per day, pretty stably. Sometimes it's a little bit higher, sometimes it's a little bit shorter, based on after this a year of launch. This is how many T-shares we have right now being paid. This is how much hex we have being paid out per T-share. So if I had imagined, so let's do some math here once again. If I had the 16,666 T-shares, and today I would earn an interest, let's say of 5.749 hex. That would mean that today I would get 96,000. Okay, just in one day I would get 96,000 coins, which is about 96,000 times 0.09 cents worth of, which is what hex is worth. That's $8,000 that I would have right now in interest being paid out to me every single day because of how many T-shares I bought when it was at its lowest point, right? But now, let's say if I only had 7 T-shares, 7.14, and I get 6 hexes per day, that's about $42 worth of hex every single day, okay? Wait, did I do the math right? 7.14 times 0.09. I'm sorry, that's about 64 cents worth of hex every single day, okay? Now look at that difference, okay? Look at that difference. That's because the more T-shares you have, the more expensive that, the more money you're getting in interest from these shares. So the people who staked early right now are getting a really, really big level of interest because they staked at the very beginning. Now that T-shares are more expensive, it's harder to get a T-shirt, so it takes more money to make that level of interest. But the people who were involved with the project in the first year are getting a lot of bang for their buck. Now, what does that mean right now? That pretty much means that right now, price is going to be a little bit more stable. And as more people are getting involved in it, they're seeing that even though T-share price is high, right, relatively, it still has the opportunity to go up because of the fact that more and more people are staking. The more that people stake, the more expensive it becomes to get a T-share. So we're going to talk about that price. Is it high? Is it low? I think it's actually still very low for a T-share. It's still great to invest, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But if you look at the overall payouts every single day in interest, look at how much is being paid out every day. Almost about 40% APY per day is being paid out in hex every single day just by having a T-share. So you're pretty much earning about 40% APY in hex by having your hex staked, guys. And that's the beautiful thing about hex, is that it has a very, 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 very aggressive interest rate, and that is incentivized by you staking longer and staking more money. And that's good for people who want to earn interest, right? The goal is to earn interest, and this coin is going to be here for a very long time. And as more people stake, the higher T-share price becomes, and you get locked in at the price you bought at. So the people who staked early, guess what? Eventually their stakes are going to end, and T-shares are going to be made available again for people to buy. But at that point, they're not going to be 60 cents. They could be thousands of dollars. And at that point, you're going to see that T-share price is really going to be more important than hex price. They're both correlating because, yes, they both earn interest and they both gain value. But at the end of the day, think about it. While hex price goes up, T-share price goes up. If you're a staker, that matters. And if you're a holder, that also matters. So it's double the whammy. You're getting more interest. You're getting more value because both are going up. And that's really, really good. Now, let's talk about the overall outlook on hex and what I think is very important for the future. And that we can see on Hex.Visual, where if we come in here, let's see if we can open this up. Give me a second. Let me open here. Hex.Vision. There we go. If you go to Hex.Vision, in here, we're going to see a lot of data that is super important. The beautiful thing about the Ethereum blockchain is that it's very transparent. It's super clear. It tells you everything about every wallet. And that's something you don't get with a day-to-day banking system. You don't know who's staked. You don't know who's holding CDs. You don't know who's investing into what. Every single day, you can check Hex price, how much stake is Hex, how much Hex is staked, how much is circulating, and you can use those metrics to literally benefit you when you're ending your stakes, when you're starting your stakes, and whatnot. So here is a circulating supply of Hex markup, and also the number of Hex the number of stakes that are being opened every single day. So right now, yesterday we saw 1,296 stakes opened up. So there's 1,296 people staking as of these past few days. More people are staking Hex than ever before. From 200 per day, we're now getting at over 1,000 people per day because more people are finding out about it. Currently, there are 285,261 new addresses. Oh, yesterday there was 284,323. And guys, this is great. And look, if you look at this number right here, this is something that I think is super important. Right now, there's only about 9.7% of Hex that's actually staked. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means that only 10% of people are staking Hex. What happens when 20% of people are staking Hex? What happens when 20% of the Hex is actually locked away, 30%, 40%? T-shirt prices are going to go even higher. So the prices that we're getting locked in at T-shirts are really inexpensive compared to what it can possibly be in the future. Of course, at the beginning, the first time, yes, you know, back in the first year of staking, those individuals got the best bang for their buck. But understand that right now you can get Hex at a very, very, very low price by simply staking right now, staking long and staking often, right? Pretty much whenever you can. And so we are currently after the big payday, day 351. We're at day 561 since the launch. There's a lot of data that we can use here to leverage. And in here, right, we see that there are 46,000 new stakes, unique stake addresses. There are 2,463,088,611 total Hex paid out in penalties. And this is something that we got to talk about because every single day, you see there are people who open stakes, and guess what? There are people who end stakes. Some people end them at the end of their contract date. Other people end them early, and that is actually beneficial for stakeholders. Now, this is where I want to talk about Hex and the overall payout every single day. Sometimes you see people you get paid out higher Hex rates. So, like for example, on this day right here, right, you see how the bubble is a little bit higher. We got paid 6.5 Hex. As compared to some days, it can be maybe 5.8 Hex. Why? Because when people end their stakes, that benefits stakeholders. So people who are staking actually get the penalty that Hex is giving towards other people who are ending their stakes early. So when you end a stake and you get penalized, it goes to people who are holding stakes, and those individuals actually make more money that day because you closed out and you got hit with a penalty. And we as holders and stakers, we get that benefit in our interest. It gets dispersed to people based on how many T-shares they have, which is why it's important to have T-shares. It's not just about how much Hex you have. Yes, your Hex can go up in value, but how many T-shares you have is important because that determines how much interest you're making, guys. Hex price will go up because demand will be there for Hex. But T-shares are there because as more people stake, it becomes more expensive to own a T-share. So you want to be staked and you want to know when. Now, this chart down here tells you how many stakes, when stakes are ending and on what specific date, right? So if you look over here, 0602, right, in this month, we have a significant amount of people that are ending their stakes. Next month as well, less significantly, right? There's a lot of people who are ending their stakes at around this time frame. Over here, we have less and less. And so people who are staking, they're staking on average for about 5 years, okay? The average person stakes for about 5 years. As you can see, in 2030, there's a high volume of people. In February 2030, there's a high volume of people ending their stake at this time. What I would do, guys, is I would end your stake on 2029 during August, right? So June, July, August. August is a good month to end your stake. Why? Because at this time, your stake would end before all of these people, meaning that there is probably going to be a dip in Hex price because people are going to be taking profit after 10 years of holding Hex. So you can end your stake somewhere around this time frame over here. You can use all this data to start to know when to end your stakes, to know when to start your stakes. All this data is here for you guys to be able to leverage, but you won't know it unless you use it. And so guys, we're going to be going deeper into all of this stuff and how to use it. There's a lot of videos I can give you guys to learn about how to look at Hex. There's a guy on YouTube called HODL. He's a great resource. The beautiful thing about Hex is the community. The people here are super awesome. They're people who are very informed. They know what they're doing. They're here for the long term, and they believe in the project. So guys, with that being said, that's a breakdown of Hex, how it works, T-shares, all that good stuff. If you want to learn more, we're going to be learning more over time, but the video's already at 20 minutes. I want to make sure that you guys get some value from it, and you can take notes very quickly. 20 minutes and you're out. And yeah, guys, that's Hex. It's a beautiful project. I think that because of the way that it's built, if it makes sense to you, you should start investing into it. And more importantly, you should stake some Hex and start earning some interest, guys. You know, I appreciate every single one of you. Stay great. Stay awesome. As you can see, as more people are staking, T-share prices keep going up. It's trending, guys. Yes, it can go down, but I'm telling you, once it goes up, it's going to continue to go up. T-shares are going to become more rare because as more people stake, T-shares become more valuable, and it becomes harder to get one, guys. So make sure that you guys are staking. You're staking long, and we'll talk more about how to stake. You know, doing staking ladders, why you should stake. You should stake over the course of time. Stake, you know, doing a staking ladder, which is pretty much having a stake end in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, up to 15 years. Every year you have a stake ending, and then eventually you can have every month a stake ending. Then eventually you can maybe even have every week a stake ending, right? So that's the interesting stuff you can do here with Hex. And I honestly, I'm looking forward to it, guys. So with that being said, everyone, I'll talk to you soon. That's the video on Hex. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to be as informative as possible. Talk to you soon.